off because it drives me nuts. Thank you, Serge, for remembering that. I'm going to share my screen. And we'll get underway. Now, hopefully everybody can see that. On behalf of Daryl and myself, and I think Daryl's still unmuted as well, I'd like to welcome you all to the very first Throws event group meeting. And you know what, let's just see what I've got for the next slide so that I don't repeat myself. Our agenda for this evening, first of all, we are going to, we'll be very short tonight. This is an introductory meeting, and we're just going to kind of welcome everybody, tell you about the program, and book a next meeting. But we'll go through the program overview, we'll do introductions, what is planned, what would you like next, and what is next. So the program overview, for those of you who don't know, and I was hoping by now the On Track newsletter for the spring would be out, but this is a brand new program that's just been launched by the National Officials Committee. And it is kind of come out of the COVID problem where we've all been stuck at home. We can't officiate, or our officiating is very, very limited because of health restrictions. So we're going into withdrawal with our officiating and seeing people. So we're hoping to reconnect people. It's a way of team mentoring. Each one of the event groups, or there's probably 12 event groups, from jumps to throws to combined events to starters to umpires to, and you get the idea. So you can join as many of them as you want. You can, and none of this is by any stretch of the imagination compulsory. You join when you want, you leave when you want, you become as involved as you want. It's just simply a way of communicating with the officials across Canada. The leaders, which are Daryl and myself, for each one of the event groups, there's a leader and an assistant. And I'm not going to say who of us is the leader and who's the assistant. Daryl and I are working together in the throws area. The groups will obviously request some topics and activities that they may want to see. The leaders will be the facilitators, and there's no reason why we couldn't bring in somebody to assist us with something if we so needed. But once again, this is brand new, just out of the starting blocks. And we've got 3 or 4 groups that haven't even had their introductory meeting yet. So we're just on the ground level. Once again, Daryl and Daryl Schneider from Ontario, and my name is Jane Edstrom. I'm from Manitoba. I'm a, well, I've officiated, I'm sad to say, I've officiated for over 40 years. I'm a World Athletics ITO, and I've had the honor of being at the World Championships as a international technical official since 2013. I've been able to attend the Rio Olympics, and on the docket, hopefully, if everything goes well, I'm on, I've got my ticket to go to Tokyo. So I've got a little bit of experience on the international scene, which is very, very interesting. I'm a member of the TOEX, the World Athletics TOEX educational group, which is in charge of educating officials. I'm an evaluator of the ITOs. So I've just been afforded so many opportunities through volunteering with athletics, and it's been a great experience. So Daryl, if you haven't already, unmute yourself and tell the group a little bit of something about yourself.
As Jane said, I'm from Ontario. I've been an official for, I think, about 27 years. I'm a level 5 judge and a level 5 throws referee. I've actually attended 3 different Olympics, not as an official, but as a spectator, and learned a lot from watching how other people did it, not just how we do it here in Ontario or in Canada. I've officiated at 3 world championships, a World Seniors in Edmonton, or World Open, whatever you want to call it, the World Youth in Sherbrooke, and the World Juniors in Moncton. So I've been around a little bit, not as much as Jane has, but you know, I'm only 70. I still got a chance to go a little bit farther. So go ahead, Jane, we're all set.
Great, thanks, Daryl. And I gotta say, I was roped into officiating many years ago because the father of my daughter happened to throw a large steel ball around. And as you all know, if you stand more than 2 times in a row around any track and field site, you either get a stopwatch or a tape measure put in your hands. And I have, one of my favorites has to be the throws area because of the excitement, the danger, the whatever. And so it's great to be associated with this group. For the throws event group, what is planned? These are some things that Daryl and I have kind of, you know, thrown around. The World Athletics rules updates. Since we haven't been together, we haven't been officiating, it's hard to find out some of these things. And there have been 2 World Athletics rules updates since 2000, since the rule book came out. So as a matter of fact, I have a slide deck all ready to go on the World Athletics rules update. So that's going to be first on the docket, but also updating World Para rules. What are some best practices? As Daryl said, he's been to 3 Olympic Games, and when you view officiating in other countries, sometimes you see things that, oh, that's not the way we do it, or that is a very good technique. That's something that I should take home and maybe we should try. So what are some things, some best practices that should be passed on? And then there are many, many different things that we could possibly share with each other. Now, what would the group like to see? Just because 2 people brainstorm and think that these things might be a good thing to do, maybe it's not what the group wants to see. So there is a group ownership. No 2 groups have to be alike, and we can all go at this in different ways. Should we have some refresher training? Again, other question mark, question mark. So what I'd like to do for a minute is, well, let's go through this slide and then we'll get maybe some feedback from people as to, you have a couple minutes to think of what you would like to see. Meeting regularity, like what would you like to see? I think weekly is a bit much, maybe once a month, maybe every other month. What would look good to the group? The next meeting, I will say, since it's pre-Olympics, and I don't know about you, but I book off the 2 weeks of the Olympics, whether I'm going or not. And if I'm not going, I sit in front of the TV for 2 weeks straight and watch the TV 18 hours a day on whatever channel happens to be showing something. So I don't think we want to meet during the Olympics, but we do have a meeting date of July 20th, which is a Tuesday, for a World Athletics rules update. And I would say most of our meetings or groups would never, probably an hour. I don't think we're going to keep you all night. But just so you kind of have an idea what the expectation is. If we've got some special thing going on, you know, maybe we'll go 2 hours, but that would be with group discussion or break off groups or something. Format, we're wondering if a Zoom is okay, or a conference call. I'm not sure we can get 100 people on a conference call, but if the Zoom platform is okay, and I think most of us throughout COVID have become familiar with what Zoom is, since I know my Christmas was spent on Zoom because we couldn't get together. So hopefully people are familiar and comfortable with Zoom. So questions or input, feedback. Serge, if you're still there, if you can unmute everybody. And then maybe what I'll do is get gallery view so we can see everybody. Does anybody have any feedback, questions, input? And you know what? I'll stop sharing so we can see everybody's faces. How about that?
A very obedient group. Oh, they haven't been unmuted yet. There we go. Oh,
I just look at
Yeah, I
it
can wake
and
up
try to
now.
pick a point, not looking at the whole problem, pick a point where I'm trying to putt to. Then I'll putt to that point, and then, I just have an instinct that it'll roll out to that point, to the hole. So gauge to that hole, the imaginary hole, you out to somewhere in the middle.
And just, well, you're.
You mentioned July,
Oh, sorry, John.
Yes, it'll.
you mentioned July 20th. Is that a definite?
See how much slope you have, and then you just.
Well, we
try to
have it
putt to.
booked. Is there a better
You think
date
he's
for
gonna
you?
Start to go faster, so.
It
No,
is a definite.
it's not a problem. I didn't get the feeling they were definite. I just wanted to make sure.
It's a definite, John. Just because, as I mentioned, we have 12 to 15 different event groups, all vying for the Zoom login code. And we can only have, yeah, we can only have one Zoom a night. And plus we don't want to, if like we have the Slocums here tonight, for an example, jumps can go to throws, and throws can go to jumps, can go to mentors, can go to, so there's overlap in these groups. So we want to make sure that there's not double booking.
Okay, no problem. But yeah, I think we could all use more than a little bit of refresher at this point in time.
Sure. Well, you know what, when we review some of the rules updates next time, if after that, obviously we're going to field questions, and then if there's a specific topic or a specific refresher that anybody wants, for sure, let's look at that.
Can you give us a website where we can see the updates?
You know what, sorry, Tim, I just go on the worldathletics.org. You go under technical and you will find the rules updates there. In the newsletter, when it comes, which I hope is within the next week, I've made a summary of the rules updates that were approved by the World Athletics Council in March.
Thank you.
And these rules will take effect in November of 2021.
Yeah.
Tim, if you go to World Athletics and then technical and then go to rules, if you cursor down, it's down at the bottom. You'll go through a bunch of rule changes, but there's a special section there that tells you what's coming up in November of this year, what changes will be coming. And we'll be talking about those at the next meeting. But if you want to take a look at them, because some of them affect all the event groups, all
Thank
the
you.
horizontal jumps, throws, everything.
Thanks.
And I only know that because it took me a half an hour to find it.
Well, like most websites, it's sometimes difficult to navigate. Yes, just for, I know this is a throws group, but field is field. For the jumps, for horizontal jumps, the new toe board and the new vertical plane rule doesn't come in until November. It was supposed to come in last year, but since the Olympics were held over to this summer, they weren't going to put a new horizontal jumps rule in just before the Olympics. So we all need new takeoff boards and cameras on the takeoff board as of the fall. Any other
Good.
questions or comments?
What I've noticed, if you're interested, I know that John, when we did the para one, we looked into the European Paralympic Championships. There was a lot of controversy at that event or that meet about lifting. And I remember somebody during the para Zoom thing was talking about how do we define what lifting is. I watched a lot of that and I didn't see any lifting, but I saw a lot of people being called for lifting. So the YouTube is a great resource because that stuff's going to be on there forever. So if you want to go back and just search Euro Paralympics or even the ongoing World or USATF Olympic trials, all the events are available to you on YouTube if you go and watch. I watched every throw of the shot put final. And if anybody wants to think how far 23:37 is, just go out and mark it on the street. That's a long, long way. A huge throw.
Yes. Yes. Now that's on YouTube, Daryl,
Yes.
because
And
I've been
NBC
watching.
NBC Sports also has a streaming service that you can, like tonight at 7:30, the entire javelin final is on, every throw. And that's the NBC Sports, and it's a streaming service that they have. And it'll be like, here's all the jumps in triple jump, all the throws in javelin, all the hammer throws. I watched the entire hammer competition yesterday. So you can watch all of that stuff on YouTube, and it's going to be available forever because that stuff never dies. It just stays on that site forever.
Right. Because NBC is only televising about an hour in the evening and you
Yeah.
only get to see, well, fortunately, Ryan Krauser broke the world record. Otherwise, we might not have seen any shot put.
That's probably true. Probably true, but that was huge.
Oh, it's just, but unfortunately, they told me what it was in feet. And it
Oh, yeah.
doesn't mean a thing to me other than the fact that I knew it was past 22 meters.
The thing that surprises me is they measure it in metric, but they announce it over the PA system in feet and inches because the distances are recorded in metric. But for the fans who don't understand what a meter is, they have to give it in feet and inches. I had
And on
trouble remembering 77 feet. That's a long way.
Yes. On the indicator boards also, they have both feet and inches and metric. So
Yeah. I
Now,
think
was
down in
it
the
20
left-hand corner,
yeah, was it 2357 or
37.
37?
30.
23:37,
Oh,
25
okay. I thought
centimeters over the old record.
he made sure he broke it.
Oh, and he knew the minute it left his hand that it was out there.
CBC
Unbelievable.
Sports has the clip of it, of him throwing it and stuff on their site. And yeah, as soon as it left his hand, he was cheering because he knew he had it.
Oh yeah, it was amazing.
I was just trying to watch his feet because in London, we had a problem with him at the back of the circle.
Well, I think
And
if you watch this, you'll see that there's still that as he comes around. I don't know whether he touches, but he doesn't push off. He doesn't use it to propel. So under the new rules, I think a graze is okay, but you can't use it to to accelerate your push across the circle.
Right.
But-
And it's very, very difficult to see. Those men are big men and their shoe is naturally gonna compress down. And yeah.
Well, he's 6'8", 325 pounds. That's pretty big.
Interesting for me, Daryl and Jane, if you go back and watch that competition, because I watched every throw, I thought 2 of the first 3 throwers in the competition faulted on top of the toe board. And I didn't feel like the official was watching the toe board. I felt like he was watching the thrower.
I think you're right, because I thought the one guy's foot, I don't know which one it was, but you could see it as he came around on his left foot, it stopped,
Stopped. Yep.
and they didn't call it. Of course,
Well, if you
how many
see the
false
clip
starts
of
would they
the,
have?
if you
They
see the
haven't
clip of the
called.
official, he's sitting there and he's watching, and Matt and I are sitting at home going, he's not looking at the board. He's watching the guy throw like the whole time.
Yeah.
He never watched the toe board. I don't think they called anybody on a foot fault unless they completely
Off the
left the
board.
circle.
Yeah, unless they stomped on the toe board. But I've watched some of that, and I think not so much in the throws, but how many false starts have they called and nobody's been, I saw one girl get a red card. Has it been 3? Okay, but there's been so many false starts.
Three no call, like 2 went to green card, 1 they disqualified her and then they put her back, let her run in the final.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Actually, there were 2 put back in. One
there?
in the 100 and one in a distance race. So, yeah.
I just wonder sometimes. I think they're using the foot pads, so if it's, the machine says it's a false start, it's a false start. Okay, well, let's get
Unless
back
they
to throws.
argue that it's not working correctly.
John, you need a haircut.
No, I don't. No, I don't.
That's like most of us, though. Our barbers aren't open.
I'm going
Well-
back to the 70s.
Or you could be like me. First cut I had finally last week in 18 months.
Really?
Cut off 4 inches.
That's not a cut. That's
Or-
just oriented.
It's a trim.
You're looking good, John. Have you been sneaking around someplace?
John M.
Where would you think I'd be sneaking around?
Well,
To the
it looks like
barber.
you've had a recent haircut.
10 days ago. Well,
Quebec?
our barber shops have been open since. Oh yeah, no, the barber shops have been open since basically last summer here.
My wife's been cutting my hair the last 4 times.
I'm not going to go there. Not going there.
She's happy with it. That's all that counts.
Exactly.
That's been my job too, so.
All right. Okay, Jane?
What, to cut
Well,
Daryl's
they-
hair?
Daryl, sure, no problem.
If,
My
if,
back,
if
yeah,
there,
no problem.
if there aren't any questions or further comments, other than derogatory about haircuts, we can adjourn, but if you wouldn't mind marking on your calendar, July 20th, 20, and we'll go 7 o'clock Eastern time. I do realize for the West, it might be a bit early, but we also have to look at the Atlantic area that is like an hour ahead. And then Newfoundland's an hour and a half ahead. So we don't want to keep them up like all night. So we're going to go 7 o'clock Eastern on July 20th. And you do see that this is being recorded. In the case that you can't attend, there will be a link on the Athletics Canada website. And this one won't be posted until after the Olympic trials in Montreal, because our staff is all busy trying to get ready for that. So thank you all very, very much for attending this evening. And if you know of anybody who didn't get the notice or didn't realize this was on, we are only using the emails that have been provided on Tracky. And if they're out of date, then like it's tough to get a hold of you. So don't be afraid to invite fellow throws officials. Because as I say, we might have some emails that aren't up to date. But once again, thank you all very much for attending. Happy summer.
Very much.
See you in
Thank you.
July.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.